Hi, I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, new numbers out about jobs and crime in San Diego. One report is good, the other not so much. Local lawmakers say border waits cost us $6 billion a year, and improvements at the port of entry could lose funding. What they want the White House to do about it. And while the nation debates gun control, gun collectors are patiently going through the legal steps to buy machine guns.
I'm Peggy Pico. Also coming up, the number of inmates who die in San Diego County jails is significantly higher than in any other large jail system in California and in the U.S. What the data reveals and why the Sheriff's Department denies there's a problem. Then, peace at last between Mayor Bob Filner, the city attorney, the city council, and the Tourism Marketing District. More on how the agreement came about and where it goes from here.
And we'll meet a man whose radical vision is to make farmers markets your go-to place for produce instead of supermarkets. KPBS Evening Edition starts now.
KPBS Evening Edition is made possible by Joan and Irwin Jacobs and by
Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. New data out tonight shows crime increased in San Diego County last year, but not to record levels. The snapshot comes from the San Diego Association of Governments. It shows a 30% jump in murders compared to 2011. SANDAG also reports increases in assaults, auto thefts, burglary, and rape, but the 2012 numbers were well below record levels. Police Chief William Lansdowne cites several possible reasons: personnel cuts, the transfer of state inmates to county custody, and a larger transient population. San Diego's unemployment rate dropped to its lowest level in more than 4 years last month. The Employment Development Department says the rate was 8% in February, down more than a point from a year ago. The statewide unemployment rate was 9.7% last month. Nationwide, it was just over 8%. Some San Diego congressional members are seeking help to ease congestion at the world's busiest border crossing. They're urging President Obama to take action to ease long waits at the San Isidro port of entry in the South Bay. Fronteras reporter Adrian Florido joins us from the News Center. So Representative Scott Peters, Susan Davis, and Juan Vargas were down at the border today. Adrian, what did they have to say?
Well, they said what everyone who crosses the border regularly says all the time, which is that wait times are way too long, and that's costing the San Diego and California economies billions of dollars in potential business and tourism revenue. Now, the border crossing is currently being expanded to try to ease these wait times, but the project hasn't been fully funded by Congress, and so in the meantime, Mexico has already finished its portion of the project.
Mexico has made its side of the investment to do northbound traffic, southbound traffic, and pedestrian traffic, and the United States has fallen behind.
So what are the lawmakers proposing the president do?
Well, in the era of sequester funding cuts, getting additional funding for anything is nearly impossible. But Peters and Vargas sent President Obama a letter yesterday asking him to include additional infrastructure funding in his 2014 budget so this project can finally be completed.
And the White House says the new budget will be released on April 10th. KPBS Fronteras reporter Adrian Florido. A plan to close air traffic control towers is being challenged in court. 149 regional towers are being closed across the country because of sequestration. The list includes towers at the Ramona Airport in Brown Field here in San Diego. But a lawsuit's been filed in Washington, D.C., claiming the plan violates a federal law intended to make sure major changes at airports don't reduce safety. A San Diego City Beat investigation finds death rates among inmates in county jails are higher than any other jail system in the state. Peggy Pico has more on the investigation.
An investigative series by San Diego City Beat looks into a number of deaths among inmates in San Diego County jails. The first report this week compared mortality rates in San Diego to California's 10 largest jail systems and to national inmate death rates over a 6-year period. Here with details on the data uncovered in San Diego City Beat is San Diego City Beat editor David Rowland. David, thanks so much for joining us. Let's talk about this report. Dave Moss and Kelly Davis looked into the deaths of inmates in San Diego County jails between 2007 and 2012. What did they find as far as how many deaths and what these deaths were caused by?
Well, they found 60 deaths in those 6 years, and they were 31 of them were for quote-unquote natural reasons. There were 16 suicides, there were 8 accidental deaths, there were 5 deaths due to homicide. The people who died ranged from 18 years old at the young end to all the way up to 72 years old. 56 of them were men. 4 of them were women, so kind of all over the map.
And sort of the average age, 46, not a high-risk population that you would normally think of, but we'll come back to that. Now, the reporters calculated these statistics with the Department of Justice formula that is used by most jail systems throughout the country. What is that formula?
Well, it's called the mortality rate, and it's used by the U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics. And they are a division of the U.S. Department of Justice. And they use that rate because it's easier to make comparisons to other agencies like the Centers for Disease Control and other health organizations. Use that because they feel like it's the best way to calculate it. The mortality rate is basically the number of deaths divided by the average daily population. So, because the number of the population fluctuates dramatically from day to day, they use an average so they can really zero in and compare it with others.
Yeah, and typically that's like the NIH. They use it also for disease tracking, mortality. You know, so many deaths or so many diseases per 100,000 people. So you get a good population, and like you said, in jails they turn over all the time. So traditionally used. Now, these mortality rates that we're talking about were compared to national statistics and 10 of the largest jail systems in California, including Los Angeles, Riverside, Kern counties. How did we compare?
Well, we were the highest. When we looked at the 10 largest jail systems in California, I believe it was between 2007 and 2012, San Diego County came up with a mortality rate of 202 deaths per 100,000 people. And that was a little higher than Riverside County. Riverside County in that same period was 198, and then down from there. So we were a little high.
But in the 2007 to 2010, we were just looking at a graphic at that. Maybe we can put that back up. Specifically, this rate compared to U.S. and California. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that was the one where we were able to compare it to California as a whole and the nation. Just because of the information that was available to us, we had to take a shorter period of time. So we looked at 2007 to 2010 and found out that San Diego County had a mortality rate of 206 compared to California, which was just 153, and the nation all the way down to 129 deaths per 100,000 people.
Yeah, you can really see it there. It looks so drastically more. Now, the San Diego Sheriff's Department challenged the data. They were in the article, and they called the data mathematically exaggerated. And they said they use a different method to calculate deaths. What is their method?
They calculated by looking at the total number of bookings, so the total number of people that are booked into jail, and that is going to be a much higher rate than the average daily population because people are coming in and out all the time. People are not there very long, so that number makes the county's number look better. So we had somebody quoted in the story saying, well, that's the only people that complain about the mortality rate, as we previously discussed it, are people whose mortality rate is much higher than everybody else's.
And the method that the Sheriff's Department uses is rarely used. It's not really used very often whatsoever.
Yeah, and we asked them if they could give us some sort of scientific explanation or some scientific basis that would show that it's the better way to look at it, and they couldn't.
Okay. Now, a Citizens Law Enforcement Review Board inspects jails annually, and they also review all officer-involved deaths or deaths while in custody of an officer. Did they say anything about these unusual numbers here in San Diego County?
We have done a lot of reporting on CLRB, as we call it. That's the acronym, and a lot of critical reporting of that organization. We believe that they could be a lot more aggressive in their investigations of what police are doing in San Diego County. However, in this case, they have over the years, on a couple of occasions, looked into the mortality rate, and they have made suggestions sort of along the fringes, along the outside of the problem, made suggestions that have been rejected by the Sheriff's Department for whatever reason.
All right, well, as we mentioned, this is part of an ongoing series. We look forward to the next installment. I want to let people know that they can read this story on our website, kpbs.org/midday edition. David Rowland, San Diego City Beat, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
A new diabetes drug has been approved by the Food and Drug Administration. Invokana is the first of its kind to lower blood sugar by flushing it out of a patient's urine. It's been approved for adults with type 2 diabetes, which affects an estimated 26 million Americans. UPS has agreed to pay $40 million to close a federal investigation connected to online pharmacies. The Justice Department says the shipping company is taking steps to block illegal drug dealers from using their service online. FedEx has also been under investigation. Activists will rally in Vista tomorrow afternoon for what they call sensible gun restriction. President Obama has been pushing Congress to make action on gun control, and a bill is expected to be introduced next month. As the debate goes on, some say security checks required to purchase a fully automatic weapon are an example of successful regulation. But as Diane Kepley of the Associated Press tells us, loopholes are allowing more people to buy machine guns.
As the gun debate rages, thousands of Americans are undergoing extensive checks to legally own machine guns.
This is an AK-47. I'm going to shoot 30 rounds in about 4 seconds. It's a lot of fun. They should never outlaw these guns. Only in America could you do this.
It can take 6 months to get federal approval to own a machine gun. To some experts, it shows firearms can be regulated.
I believe that, yeah, it's absolutely a very good example of what could be done to regulate guns. I believe that it is a little too easy at times for people to go out and get their hands on a firearm, perhaps that shouldn't have one.
But there is a loophole, one that rogue cop Christopher Dorner claims he used to buy silencers and a rifle. Dorner used a gun trust, a legal entity which lets a business, an organization, or even a group of friends own a restricted weapon. A trust or corporation can buy machine guns without many of the security checks faced by individuals.
So for the trust, there's no fingerprint cards for the members, no photographs of the members, or the law enforcement signature isn't required.
You ready?
The ATF says the number of Americans and trusts applying to buy restricted weapons is rising fast.
2005, we processed maybe around 50,000 transactions, not just the individual ones in total. And in 2012, we were upwards of probably about 130,000, I'm thinking.
But legal gun owners maintain bearing fully automatic arms remains their constitutional right.
If you're a law-abiding citizen, have a clean record, live in a state where you can own this kind of stuff, you should be able to own anything. I own a tank, with a 75 millimeter or 90 millimeter cannon, That's the way it should be.
Diane Kepley, Associated Press.
40 years ago today, the last U.S. combat troops left Vietnam. 58,000 Americans died there and are remembered at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, where an estimated 3 million people visit a year.
And this was a memorial that we Vietnam veterans built, with our own money. We didn't get any help from the government financially, so we really built this kind of in spite of the government. So it stands as something very important. But now, when you go there today, look at the visitors. 90% of them are 14, 15-year-old kids. The memorial has become an educational device and a learning device. So that's what's important.
He says he is now working to make sure the veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan are also remembered with an education center at the wall. Good Friday was marked with solemn ceremonies around the world. At the Vatican, Pope Francis laid face down on the floor of St. Peter's Basilica in adoration. He did not give the homily for today's service, but during a procession to reenact Christ's crucifixion, he praised the friendship of, in his words, so many Muslim brothers.
I'm Ray Suarez. On the next news hour, the mounting backlog of veterans waiting to get medical benefits, plus Shields and Brooks. That's Friday on the PBS NewsHour.
The dispute between San Diego's mayor and the tourism marketing district has finally been resolved. Peggy Pico explains how it happened.
The long-running battle between San Diego hotel owners and Mayor Bob Filner featured a lawsuit, dueling deal proposals, charges and countercharges. But suddenly, peace broke out yesterday. KPBS Metro reporter Claire Tregesser is here to fill us in on what happened. Claire, you headed out yesterday to cover a story about the mayor agreement to sign this tourism marketing deal, but then that was sidelined because of some remarks that the mayor said on KUSI about the city council and the city attorney. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, so it was a busy day yesterday. What happened is that Filner went on KUSI on Wednesday, I believe, and said that that the city attorney and council members were being bought off by hoteliers because they had basically made campaign contributions, and he said in tens of thousands of dollars. And so he said that the city council members really shouldn't actually be voting on this agreement with the tourism marketing district because it was a conflict of interest that they'd received this money. And the city attorney said, no, that's absolutely not true.
John Goldsmith came back and actually wrote a letter, a public statement, basically, right?
Right. So he said, you know, what Filner is saying is completely over the line, and it's absolutely not true. They are exempt from that rule, and they can absolutely vote on these decisions.
We're going to come back to those charges in just a minute, but tell us what happened in regards to the tourism marketing district agreement, because that was another big zinger.
Right. So then following that, there was a special city council meeting yesterday where all of these conflicts were kind of put to rest, and actually it ended with Filner saying, "I love you, Jan," to the city attorney Jan Goldsmith, and Jan Goldsmith said, "We're all singing Kumbaya here." So they did come to an agreement. It's not a finalized agreement yet. The city attorney will come back to the city council in mid-April with that final agreement, but it sounds like everything has now been resolved.
Let's talk about those charges. Our investigative partners at iNewsSource looked into Filner's charges of the city council receiving this money. What did they find?
So Filner had been saying, you know, they've received tens of thousands of dollars, and investigative news source found that that's not entirely true. Maybe combined total, all of the council members and the city attorney have received tens of thousands of dollars, but no one really has received more than $11,000, I believe, and that's sometimes over the course of two elections, two campaigns, 2008 to 2012. So what he was saying wasn't really very true.
We're out of time, but we can hear a lot more about this on our website. KPBS Metro reporter Claire Tregesser, thanks so much.
Thank you.
It was a groundbreaking day for a massive 10-mile underground pipeline. It will eventually carry water from a desalination plant being built in Carlsbad. The pipe will run through a giant 6-foot casing. The pipeline alone will cost about $160 million. While the entire project has a $1 billion price tag, it's expected to start supplying up to 7% of San Diego's drinking water by 2016. The Environmental Protection Agency is proposing new rules for cleaner gas. They include reducing sulfur in gasoline and tightening emission standards for new cars. Environmentalists and health advocates like the proposal, and so do automakers who say it will help the U.S. catch up with other cleaner gas-burning countries. But the oil industry says the proposal will lead to higher gas prices. Well, the cost at the gas pump keeps falling as spring break gets underway for many San Diegans. The average for a gallon of regular is now $4.06, the lowest price since early February, and more than 25 cents lower than a year ago. The booming farmers market industry has seen a nearly 25% jump in business in the past 2 decades. Tonight, we meet a man whose radical vision is to make farmers markets the go-to place for San Diegans instead of supermarket chains.
So you got some oranges today and got some great stuff. Apples.
With 56 farmers markets in San Diego County,
that's a food gasm right there.
Brian Beevers saw the need to create a coalition of market managers.
I can totally make that happen.
To set some standards and create a more efficient system.
I run 3 farmers markets. We're working on a couple more that are going to be opening up here shortly.
His outdoor markets are located in 3 distinctly different San Diego communities: Point Loma, Golden Hill, and outside the UTC Mall in La Jolla. Beevers accepts only growers who don't use herbicides or pesticides, and most have been certified.
It means that the ag department comes out to each of the farms and they inspect the land and make sure that that farmer is growing what they say they're growing. It's as simple as that. It's a way of checks and balances so that people know that the produce they're buying is a local produce.
Beevers opened his first farmers market in 2009, leaving the IT industry behind, where he did website sales and development.
I mean, it's kind of coming full circle because I actually was raised on a farm. And so I spent my childhood growing up on a farm.
Easter radishes and rainbow carrots. How often do you get a chance to meet your own local farmer? We met one who's been in the business for 3 generations.
So I started growing this stuff. I was able to taste the difference, and I really believe that I can't go and buy stuff from this local supermarket and enjoy it.
Jackie's Jams helps local farmers by purchasing their overripe fruit.
For us, it's a win-win because we're able to buy the fruit a lot less than we normally would have been having to purchase in the height of the season.
The farmers market industry has seen a 25% jump in business over the past 18 years. Beevers' ultimate goal is for more San Diegans to choose locally grown over produce shipped from hundreds of thousands of miles away and sold in supermarkets.
Economics in your community is going to improve. You're looking at something that supporting a local farmer actually trickles right back into your community, so that everybody is kind of floating a little higher at that point. And then not to mention you're getting healthier, fresher foods. I mean, and you're serving your family with better foods as well.
Brian's farmers markets are among a few that accept EBT cards, so recipients of public assistance can also buy fresh, locally grown produce. Well, the iconic cash register is a century-old fixture in retailing, but it's starting to go the way of typewriters and rotary phones. As Ted Schaffery of the Associated Press shows us, a lot of stores are now using mobile checkout devices to speed up the process.
Salespeople who used to be tied to a cash register now roam the clothing aisles at JCPenney in New York.
If you get a chance, we have a sale price is really good, so follow me if you want to. I can show you.
It started several years ago at the Apple stores. Now, retailers across the country are rolling out mobile checkout devices.
I think it's great. It makes checkout a lot quicker, and I'm on my lunch break from work, so the faster the better.
The salesperson who comes in first contact with the customer can quickly close the sale with an iPod Touch, leaving buyers with little chance to second-guess the spending. Cash sales are still done at a register, but managers are slowly moving those transactions to small service counters.
I think as you see it right now, these big terminals are going to be gone. You really won't see them anymore. We're going to be able to now use the space for our new shops coming in.
It's happening across the shopping spectrum. Upscale retailer Barney's has removed the cash registers from the jewelry counter. Most transactions in the store are now done with an iPad or an iPod Touch. Retail strategist Al Sambar says it's all about increasing dollars per square foot.
I do that by improving my customer experience. Can I let this customer shop me in a richer way? Can I allow them access to more of my assortment than I can offer just in the physical square footage I have?
In the next few years, he says the devices will personalize shopping in physical stores like never before to compete with the online shopping experience. Ted Schaffery, Associated Press, New York.
The Weather Service is still predicting some rain ahead, but now they're saying to look for it on Monday along the coast. Partly sunny for the inland sections the next few days, same for the mountain areas through Monday. Partly cloudy for the desert tomorrow, then clearing by Sunday. Recapping tonight's top stories, new data shows crime increased in San Diego County last year, but not to record levels. The snapshot comes from SANDAG, the San Diego Association of Governments. It shows a 30% jump in murders compared to 2011. SANDAG also reports increases in assaults, auto thefts, burglary, and rape, but the 2012 numbers were well below record levels. Police Chief William Lansdowne cites several possible reasons: personnel cuts, the transfer of state inmates to county custody, and a larger transient population. San Diego's unemployment rate dropped to its lowest level in more than 4 years last month. The state Employment Development Department says the jobless rate was 8% in February, down more than a point from the same time a year ago. The statewide unemployment rate was 9.7% last month. Nationwide, it was just over 8%. And some San Diego lawmakers are calling on the president to make sure a big project at the border is funded next year. The port of entry is being expanded to shorten wait times, but Congress hasn't provided full funding for the work. The lawmakers say border waits cost the San Diego area $6 billion a year. You can find tonight's stories and download the KPBS app all on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. Have a great weekend.